So, he has a funeral instead of a penis, and has put his medieval pianist's hand
Yeah, I know you
on
too
the
well.
thighs
It's
of a
bullshit.
contemporary romance, listening to Brubeck and Birdland. It's just too very, very. That's one for the apple barrel. You can feel the North Pole kissing the shelling. I wear a hook in my look to be sexy. The two of us smucking the fast in the bush. He puts his long fingers into the wet mandolin precious with lotion and stringy. Helplessly clandestine. That's my song that I sing to the dark people. The Confederate spies. When I'm singing them code over the tongue's turnpike. Dub-a-dub and shit for your mama. We thought we were driving them out of Finland, but St. Anthony flew with his herd of lepers.
How much of this are you making up?
Lie down and come. Sick transit gloria. Oh, make our hearts so like to thine. And they dried him out and hung him up. My, he swung, blowing his nose for the lovers. Forswunken, forswat.
Wow.
I like that. It's shit for your mama.
I was gonna say, how much of that did you ad-lib? That was actually, wow.
What he said in
Well,
his poem.
sorry for doubting you, O'Hara.
So he has a funnel instead of a penis.
Wow. While the camera's on, I'd like for you to, before reading it, explain the Greenest dream.
No. It's a heartbreak poem. Bullshit.
Give us a little insight
Well,
before you.
what I wrote is the theme of this piece.
Okay.
It says, time is a trickster who imprisons his victims until they break the slavery to move on. Love is often not what it seems, and we sometimes are victims of its prejudices. Once we learn the pattern that chains us, we can move forward and take delight in life. The Greenest dream. The season is impure. There is wildness in the leaves, a frolicsome breeze courting the roots of trees. And I am alone. I, the satyr who suffers your immortal bleeding, and the only one who sees the haunted night for its grave simplicity. I sing, tonight is the splendid oracle of my days. Tonight is the splendid oracle of my days. I leave the forest floor musty and chaotic. The nymphs have all become glad in their heritage, and my threshold awaits. All dreams curry favor at the gate. Mine will form elliptical struggle in the skies for the haunted meridian, where an enchanted dawn brings golden blossoms, purple beauty swaying sweet as a hanging bridge to the stars. I sit, my heinous acts uncharmed, in this dim cage of iron. The heart I hold my hand upon is faint, and its pulses are kept heavy by pain. I feel the touch of spring glance carefully at my side. Do the nymphs hide in the prospect of wind before me? She is the golden breath where harvesting awaits. The morning fills with paradox and perfume, but sighs are kept secret, and secrets hang in the sky. No one yet notices the mischief we have planned. The great timekeeper darkens his features while I wind the clocks. Young Santos is still trapped in the hills, and only love's dim burden can list the kills. One, the throbbing paramount, reaches a hand into the clay to mold the heavens. God is made of man. I loved her, and her slow footsteps that more often than not led me into dark whimpering. I curled into a ball like a forming fetus, hid my tears from the shouting world, and almost died of love's poison. Someone spoke highly of the heights I reached. Distant noises of the city awoke me this morning, where dew was fresh on the lawns and someone was calling my savage name. I love, 'tis true, but I knew not what or how I loved. The soft flowing hair of the empty air, or the bottles of ink spilling onto the damp earth. One thing or another, and I dreamed. I led myself to the hills, where I was locked in a small cage like a bird who refused to sing, knowing supper was at the table already. Sing for my supper, I scoffed. Young Santos sloshed in his boots, clammed the door tight. His laughter was not the healing engine I expected. A rune echoed through the sobbing forest dark. Once in the greenest dream I seemed to have a friend, but he left me in debt to worlds I could forget. His tone was like a string vibrating on iron wings. His verb I would not sing as music in a dream. When he left the globe, the promise I composed was forgotten by him, whom I could not forgive. The night crawled in my ear, leaving dread and cold fear, and deeper will I clutch memory as my crutch. My mind cannot receive the blessings of a dream. His face is burned in me like deadly poverty. Condemn his ways to see my own delightful beings. Reluctance is not green, it only seems to dream. I kissed her once, but she did not feel it. Its ice-cold radiance, its still breath and wound. My lips are purveyors of the womb, birthing single sighs, seeking the solitary lair of hope. She has not awakened. My heart is a cavern filled joyously with satisfaction in the night's stillness. Her heart called to me. I knew I had to leave the cage. I had to free myself from the selfish inconsistency of withholding this chosenness. I traveled like passion from bed to bed and gathered all the necessary knowledge to lead my own doom. Her heart rests with another. I rest alone. The world becomes an empty tomb. Death is only a shelter from love. I hope, for the sake of my judgment, I did not reveal my hopes to her. She would pass them in a vial to the next prisoner of my touch. I know you not to know, but you turn your eyes away as if to tell me I'm not real. I doubt the truth. I see the sorcery. Your angels are venomous torches. Wait, and I will tell the story. She held me, laughing and teasing, but I kept the hurt in my heart, and I asked others if she meant it. They said she tasted the blood of soldiers and ate the meat of my heart. They said she invented the bells that drove me mad and assigned me to baptism and circumcision. Neither, they said, was for my sake. She wants to cuddle you like a firearm, said one waif, and the other said she thinks of you as a child, and children are fond of manipulations. She perverts your good sense with sorcery. I thought on the heaviness of night. My cage door was slanted, apparently unlocked. I sighed because I no longer wanted out. Hope dashes the thief, and I left my eyes on the whiskers of my father, who will one day be her child. My mother was a dark Satan, laughing at the doorways of dawn. She knew the heat of moments transitioning. I looked up, and behold, like a torpor of wings, the ray of light fixed my eye like a glorious star. I could not see, but stared afar. Upward, still and silent, her face appeared in my mind. I cried, and felt the thrust of healing in my veins. She did not forget me. My heart trapped the wings of the dragonfly, and chaos escaped the iron door where wrath was hiding. A thief! She smiled as evenly upon the gray and dying as on the green and living. Her eyes were magical forests of delight. Come, do not startle the wondered ones. I yawned, my beard gray by time's old tricks. I pulled my hand from it and reached upward as if seeking hope. I stepped up and danced like a gnome into the free honesty of day. All things stopped. I heard the ticking of a clock. It said, hope, hope, hope. I slammed the door of my former prison and reached to the broad sky like a free man at his first hour. Hope, hope, hope was here. The clock drove me mad, and I strove to silence its knotted note. I threw stones and I shouted. She answered. She was golden silence, a wish or promise, and my sagacity could not embalm her beams. Worthy of none of her charms, the calm season broke into my lair, dug my heart like a phantasm of fear, and silenced the burgeoning clock with an iron fist. I soon learned the golden silence of radiance was greater than cherishing doom, and as I left illusions in the net of night, my heart leaned forward and felt the progress of love again.
What source of manifestation was that, my dear friend?
What are you talking about?
What inspired that?
A heartbreak.
Go on.
I was good friends with this woman for a couple of years, and she seemed to return my flirtations, advances. She was very, supportive of me and empathetic towards my troubles. I gave her the same response that she gave me. And all of a sudden, one day, she tells me she hadn't been talking to me because she was in an abusive relationship. Now, this has already happened once before to me, so I was, understood that, this just happens. And so I said, well, I'm very sorry. I was supportive of her. I even bought her and her son a pizza when they had nothing else to eat. She told me the guy attacked her on her way to work and all kinds of things. And then about a week later, I call her again, and she had said that this guy had hacked her mother's Facebook and her Facebook, and she was getting a restraining order against the guy. And I called her, and I said, hey, did you work everything out? She says, yes, we're back together. And instinctively, I knew that she was walking into something that she probably didn't want anything to do with, because she told me originally that she felt in her gut that he was not completely gone. So that tells me maybe she felt kind of like she had to hold on to him. So here I was thinking to myself, I'm less than a fucking abuser to this woman, and I emailed her and I called a couple of times and said, hey, just let me know you're doing okay, everything's going well for you, please call me, I'm worried about you, blah, blah, blah. Not a single response, not even to pick up the phone and say don't call me anymore, nothing, just zero. And so I felt kind of like she tossed me away. She hasn't talked to me in over like a month now. I haven't been able to get in touch with her, and she's not even telling me she's okay. So I wrote this long poem as a form of dealing with the pain of that. And it was kind of a story that was in my head, and I took some aspects of an idea that I had in my head, and I took it and put a poem in there that's an Alexandrine, and I took that poem and I evolved it into a full spoken word piece, which one of these days I hope to get classical music set to this piece to make it a little more entertaining and fun, and to get the spirit a little bit better of what it actually means.
But don't you see what I call the beauty of unnecessary tragedy? Don't you see what it can manifest now?
Yeah, it doesn't really seem to be working out too well anyway.
That is, however, the certain people who have entered our lives, whether they take advantage or not, they do exist, and whether they slip and slink away into the shadows, that's up to them. If they had taken advantage over us, to them, they weren't really worth a single speck of our time. But now, as you know, it says step 9 or 10 in why you should never date a writer, because they get revenge in print. Yeah. I hope I didn't make you talk about something you didn't want to talk about. What are you thinking about, sir? What is on your mind?
I just want to get up and get some coffee.
Let's get up then.